so much for tuning in to today's episode of Shirley Talk TV. My name is Kellye Duckworth. I'm here with Miss Cindy. She's going to tell us a little bit about her cancer journey, mastocytosis, I believe, with a little bit of COPD in there. So she's got a lot to talk about. She's kept me earful for about 5 minutes before we even turned the camera on. So I'm anxious to see what all she has to say. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you stay tuned till the end. So we're going to start at the very beginning. They don't know that, but you said you were adopted at 2 days old?
2 days old in 1967.
And then from then on, you just kept getting sick.
I kept getting sick. I was told that I was given up for adoption because of my illness.
Oh.
I had a heart defect. And then from there, I've always had medical issues, stomach, a lot of throwing up, a lot of pain, but it didn't stop me. I did gymnastics for 10 years, tap ballet, was in anything I could do. My parents never held me back because I didn't let this disease that I didn't know I had win. So as time went on, in 1981, I was told I had a heart defect that needed open heart surgery, or I would be dead by the time I was 16. So Valentine's Day, 1982, I had open heart surgery. They gave me about a 50% chance to survive, but 2 weeks later, here I was, up running up and down the hall.
And how old are you at this time?
I was 13.
13, getting open heart surgery.
At the head open heart surgery. At 16, I got diagnosed with peptic ulcer disease. So they had to do surgeries and procedures and treat me that way. And I started doing a little bit better, but as I got older, I would throw up all the time, just constantly, just be sick to my stomach and just, major stomach issues where you can go to the restroom half the time or you did have to go all the time. So they diagnosed me with IBS. Did some more tests. Ran scopes, that wasn't correct. So then they decided they were going to run some more tests. Then they come up with Crohn's disease. So they started treating me. Well, I was allergic to the medicines they gave me. We just couldn't figure out what was going on. So a few years later, I guess I'd say January 2010 was when I had my first major anaphylactic episode. That's when I'd gotten in the shower, got out, put body lotion on, and I start down the hall and I can't breathe. And I can hear myself going, Heather, which is my oldest daughter, get your dad, get your dad. By the time I got to the living room, I was solid blood red. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was
head to toe blood red.
Yes. I couldn't believe it. The EMTs were just tripping out. They were like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you?
Oh my God.
I'd never really done that before. So they take me to the ER. They give me all the emergency meds. Well, they shoot me up with a milligram of morphine. I go into another anaphylactic shock.
Because you're allergic to the morphine?
Because I'm allergic to the morphine, which we didn't know. So they got me all taken care of and said, we need to send you to an allergist. So I went to an allergist. 4 doctors came in the room after they talked to me and didn't really do any tests and told me they think I had carcinoid cancer and I had about 12 months to live. And I'm thinking, you're a dermatologist. How do you know that you've not ran no tests?
Right.
So she decided we're going to send her to Norton Cancer Institute to meet with a hematologist oncologist. He ran a 24-hour urine test. After we did the test, he called me 2 days later and said, we have a diagnosis. Would you come in the office? Went in and he told me I had, at that time, systemic mastocytosis with life-threatening anaphylaxis. And we're like, what the hell did you just say?
Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
I mean, good Lord. And he said, basically, everybody has mast cells and yours just degrains all at one time and it all flushes. It can come out and bumps all over your face. It can on your whole body. You just get blotchy. You go in to get hives. You start throwing up chronic diarrhea, chronic vomiting. I mean, it has been headaches, trouble breathing. It is the scariest thing I have ever had to go through.
But all those symptoms, I mean, you believed him. Like, you were like, this is exactly what I've been going through.
And I told him, and he said, most people get this. If you get it as a child, which a lot of children do, they outgrow it by the time they hit puberty. But if you get it as an adult, there's no cure. They can keep you comfortable. I've been their guinea pig. I told him, do whatever you have to do. Yeah. So he's tried me on every chemo that has been pertaining to my disease, and I've not had any response.
Well, you told me, but tell them, how many chemos have you had?
I have had a total of 14 different chemos since 2011. I've stayed over 800 days in the hospital. I've been to Vanderbilt. I've been on a stem cell waiting list since May of 2011. And then I had to have an emergency surgery in 2011 of November. Every time I would have my monthly cycle, I would go into anaphylactic shock because of the extra added hormones. So 3 weeks later, they told me I have a tumor that is cancerous on my right kidney. So 3 weeks later, I had to have another surgery, and they took part of my kidney. So then, January hit, and Mike was having problems walking, which is part of the disease. Your bones deteriorate, you get arthritis. They found 2 tumors and a torn ligament on my right leg under my knee. So I'd have another surgery.
Oh my God.
And then, it's just been one operation. In 1993, I had to have emergency gallbladder surgery, which they all said was pertaining to my stomach. I have no appendix.
Do you have any organs left?
I think I have a liver, or
Okay.
maybe a pancreas, and my lungs. And then,
Oh my
so
gosh.
it's hard. I live day to day. I try to stay as upbeat as I can.
Mhm.
There's days I want to scream and yell. Sometimes I do go out in my car and go for a ride and scream and cry as loud as I can.
Yeah, whatever you have to do.
But I get through it. I don't take no narcotics because I'm highly allergic. So I get to lay and cry in pain if I hurt.
So you have no pain management.
They tried to put a pain pump in me, and they wanted to put all these different drugs that I cannot tolerate. They did find one medication that works. It is Dilaudid, but I haven't had it since 2014 because to take it, I have to take 4 Benadryl with it and all my emergency anaphylactic medicine just to take a pain medicine. It's just not worth it. It's just
So
not.
you just sit there in pain and just take
I
it.
take about 58 pills a day.
58.
58 pills a day. I eat more pills than I do food.
Gosh.
So I call it my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if I get to eat any real food, it's amazing because I can't hardly tolerate, anything. And then trying to deal with the sickness and going to the doctor. I've been going to the same oncologist. It'll be 10 years in December. And a lot of people go, well, oh my God, you've been dealing with cancer for that long? I look at it this way. I'm still alive because these doctors have worked hard to try to cure me.
Absolutely.
Which there's no cure. There's plenty of blood transfusions and plenty of sickness and hospitalizations. And I just take it day to day. I don't let it win. And then the COPD is a nightmare.
I was going to say, so your COPD is a side effect of the chemo?
Yes.
Which is insane. So you've never smoked a day in your life?
Never smoked in my day. And what is weird is I kept having this weird itchy feeling on my back of my lung area. And I kept thinking, what in the world? So one night I was having a really bad time breathing. So they took me to the ER, met my doctor, Dr. Alabon. He's one of the best lung doctors I've ever had. He told me I had tree and bud infiltrate, which is where it looks like a tree growing like a leaf in your lung. And I'm like, what the world? Did I eat a seed from a tree? I don't know. So he said, we're going to run some tests. And then that's when they found out that I had 46% lung function and I'm in stage 3 COPD.
Which is why you're on oxygen.
Which is why I'm on oxygen 24/7. It's just, I take it day to day. I mean, my husband lost his job of 24 years. We do good to keep our bills paid up. I mean, right now we're 2 months behind with our rent because it's just me and him. My disability, when I finally got approved, they went back to only last November. I was originally told they'd go back to when I first applied in 2013.
So it's been over 7 years.
So they didn't, yes.
And they're not back paying.
No, I was supposed to get $90,000 back pay.
Oh.
Instead, I got $2,800 back pay, and the lawyer got $981 of that.
How does that work?
That's what I'd like to know.
Oh my gosh.
It's a real nightmare living with,
So you can't work at all?
I can't work at all. I cannot. My husband can no longer work.
Yeah, he went
He
through the
can't
ringer.
drive because he's having seizures.
Right.
And then he meets with a neurosurgeon to try to help this aneurysm, but they've done told us we need to prepare for what could happen because he's not in the best health, and neither am I. It's just hard. We take it day to day, just trying to, I got my check on the first, I get $703 a month. My rent's $600. I can't apply for any assistance because they want to take it from me. It
makes me so mad.
I
I don't understand.
I worked all my life. My husband worked his entire life.
Exactly. You're not someone that took advantage of the system. You paid into this, and then here you are, and you finally need it.
I am so honest. It's like our church helped us month before last, $200 to help us toward our rent. I had to report it to my SSI. So they decided, well, since you got that $200 towards your rent, we're going to take you down to $207 the next month. So for the last 2 months, I am living on $207. Never had to go to Dare to Care for assistance for food. My car needs a tire. I'm riding on a donut. We've never had to live this way. Our, insurance. My husband, when he had his job, was paying $1,400 a month for insurance for me and him because of my pre-condition. Even they say it wasn't because, but when you go from paying $600 to $1,450, there's an issue.
So you're on your husband's insurance still?
No, he lost his job, so he's on Medicaid finally, and I am.
So paying $1,400 a month got you nothing?
Got us nothing. I didn't even get our dental with that. With my husband's company, all it was medical.
Are you kidding me?
That I'm not.
$1,400 a month.
We went to do our taxes, and the lady thought, where's their W-2? She was reading, my husband's like, that $13,000 for health insurance. She said, oh my God, that's a car. I said, we know.
So he's on Medicaid. Are you on Medicaid as well?
I just got approved in July for my Medicaid and passport.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's a nightmare. And I'm still learning about what it pays for and trying to get help because you can't call nobody. Or if you do, you're on hold for 2 hours and 48 minutes and 13 seconds. I mean.
Well, we said this earlier. You get a bill. Somebody brought in a bill the other day. He had to flip to the 4th page to find out what he owed and what insurance was covering.
I know, it's crazy.
Why it's not right there on the front page,
it's
I have
crazy.
no idea.
I mean, and thank God LG&E's being decent, but when you owe almost $1,000 and you don't, the arrangements I've worked out, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make them because we had money in savings, we had money in checking.
So you owe LG&E $1,000?
Oh yeah, easy.
And you're 2 months behind on
rent.
rent.
Oh yes, and they just, I'm scared every day that they're going to click, and I have to have air.
That's why we do these little talks here, because unless you go through this, people out there have no idea. Because LG&E doesn't care that you have cancer.
Don't care.
They don't care. You don't have a job.
And let me tell you,
they want to get paid.
They want their money. It's all about the dollar. It's not about a human. And medication, that is another.
That's my thing. So you 58 pills a day. That's got to be ungodly. It is.
Yeah, it's 58 medications. My chemo is $28,000 for a 14-day supply. My Marinol is $1,400 a bottle. My scopolamine patches are $2,500. It is just uncanny, the medicine I have to take.
$28,000 for a chemo.
14-day supply.
For 2 weeks, yeah. Mm-hmm. Why it's that amount of money?
And that was my cheapest. When they started out, I've been on 5 or 6 pills, 4 or 5 IV chemos, injections at home, back on 4 chemo treatments a day, and now they're going to start me on more pills and IV treatments 3 times a week at 3 hours a day. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to make this. I can barely tolerate what I take now.
Exactly.
I take, for nausea, just alone, I take scopolamine patches at the tip of the ear. I take Finnegan, Zofran, Finnegan suppository, Zofran dissolvables, Xanax because it helps with nausea. I never knew that. Yeah. And then they've got me on, what's the last? Did I say Marinol? And then the Finnegan and the Zofran tablets. That's just,
just
pills.
for nausea.
Just for nausea.
That's every day.
That's every day.
A normal person would just have to take a Finnegan.
I know.
Or a Zofran for nausea.
They had to change my dosage. I take 4 Finnegan a day one every 4 hours. Or, I do is.
I feel like you spend half your day taking pills.
I do. And then my husband's like, well, are you hungry? I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah, I just filled up
I just can't, and then they want you to drink Ensures, which taste is awful.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed, I lost my height. I was 5 foot. I'm 5'2" now. I'm 5'2". I'm 5 foot.
Right.
Because the bone density. They told me I actually have the body of an 88-year-old lady because of just the way the disease, arthritis.
Deteriorating your bones.
I've had 22 double bone marrow biopsies because the way they do it, the way the disease is, like one area might come 20% and the other area might be 40%. But they averaged right now, it is 68% in the bone marrow right now. And it is 100% in the organs. and it's all in my blood. But I just don't let it.
Your attitude's amazing.
I can't let it. I've lost.
Other than your oxygen, you would have no idea you were sick.
That's what people look at me. They're like, I can't believe you're so. My Dr. Williams tells me I'm the most upbeat dying person he's ever met.
That's a way to put it, I guess.
Well, they gave me 3 years in 2010, and then here it is, 2020. So I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And
you just keep doing what you need to do to live every day.
That's it. And I got a great support system. Our church family, Butcher Park Baptist Church, our shepherd, Miss Betty, my kids, Heather, Logan, Megan, and Brian. They are just wonderful. My husband.
And, the way they talk about
and
you,
Sydney. Friends that are just not even my kids. They all say I'm their mother. They're my kids from another mother. I'm like, I'll take that.
Well, you've obviously done something right.
It's
okay.
They are I've just been blessed. The kids have a lot of good friends, and I've got a really good, I'll be married 33 years come November 28th. So we just keep on going, with him. His illness is all relatively new with the brain aneurysm. But there's nothing you can do. You have to stay positive. You have to keep going. There's days like I said, I want to scream. I want to throw things. I want to beat walls.
Yeah.
But
I can't hardly handle a headache, so I can't imagine what you go through not having a pain management.
The BP's the worst. My blood pressure runs crazy. It was 201 over 177. So now they've got me on 3 blood pressure pills a day trying to get it. Because when I went last week, I was in stroke range, and they were going to admit me to the hospital because they couldn't get it down. So they put me full of fluids, and it's just every day's a battle. I go to the doctor, it seems like every week.
Like it's something different every time. It could be the nausea one day. It could be the blood pressure.
It can. And what's strange, like with the anaphylaxis, somebody can walk past with some really weird, funky perfume and it make my throat close off. Or the laundry detergent, the wind. Just sitting here talking, I could go into an anaphylactic shock that just triggers out of the blue. And it's a nightmare because you just never know when it's going to happen. Well, last time I went to dinner, I watched some little older ladies sit down behind me, and they had on that Most cologne. Just ordered my prime rib. Went to sit down, sitting there, and they walked past, and all of a sudden, my husband's like, "You're turning blood red." I know, I can't breathe. We had to leave. They had to put our food in a carry-out and take it. I was so upset.
So, when that happens, you just go outside and get fresh air, and
I go out. I take. I carry emergency meds. I have to pop Benadryl, Finnegan. There's a nausea med. Do my inhalers, and then hope that works, and then hope I don't have to use the EpiPen. It's just, and I carry everything. I have to carry a binder.
Which is what that little.
Yes, it is. It's my little tote bag. It's got all my meds, my emergency binder. Because, you try to tell somebody what you have.
Yeah.
You hand them the binder. Like whenever I get a nurse that's never had me.
So much easier to just hand it over.
They're like, "Oh, thank you for having all this so I can read up," because they don't know what it is.
Well, that's a good tip. If you have all these problems like that, keep it in a binder.
Keep it in a binder. It's the best way. My doctor actually tried to get me to make them and sell them.
That's a good idea.
But I just didn't feel right about selling something like that. So I said, I can't do that. I said, I would rather just make them and give them away free. He's like, "Yeah, but you can make money." I'm like, "Yeah, but I feel kind of guilty making money on somebody's battling a very rare disease that they're trying." The thing with this disease is it progresses on to mast cell leukemia. That's what we're fighting me not to get to. Since I'm in aggressive stage, the next stage will be mast cell.
So that's inevitable?
It's inevitable.
It'll come just eventually?
Eventually it'll go into mast cell leukemia. And with me being adopted, it's hard to find a match. And my parents that adopted me are deceased. And I figure this way, I'm 53. If they really wanted to find me, they would look for me now.
Right. So is this genetic? Like, could your children?
Yes, it is. At first we were told at the Mayo Clinic that it wasn't. And then the more we investigated and went to the Vanderbilt, yes, it can be hereditary to the children. The only one that seems to have some of the mild symptoms is Megan. But she refuses to be tested because she don't want to know.
It's a little scary, yeah.
It is. I went from working at a store. I used to manage a liquor store, Skyway Beverage on Hikes Lane for about 15 years. One day I was sitting there ordering what I needed off the shelf, and I started itching and break out in hives. But I always carry Benadryl because I'm allergic to bumblebees. So I thought, hey, I'll take a Benadryl, and it made it stop. Then I noticed when I ate some cinnamon toast, I did the same thing. So when they finally ran an allergy test, they said, you're allergic to most antibiotics. You're allergic to cinnamon and zinc. You can have no pain narcotics unless you're hospitalized or unless you want an epi and free. I don't want to stick an EpiPen in my legs just to get out of pain. That's more pain.
Oh my gosh.
But I just, I try to stay upbeat. I don't let it get me down.
No, yeah, you're awesome. And your doctors are it sounds like they're learning all this with you.
They are. I was his very first patient, Dr. Patrick Williams ever had. He was just overjoyed that he had me. He actually was so excited to meet me. He called me into my appointment 2 hours early and met me out in the lobby to come out and meet me because he was like, I think I got a rarity here. We've got a lot of stuff to try on you. I'm like, oh Lord.
Oh gosh.
And then he does. I mean, anything that he can do, he will try. He's very hands-on and he will call all the doctors. You don't have no problem learning from others and taking the information where some doctors don't want to hear that. You know, they want to, I can do this and I don't need no other doctor. But he's very open. I got a Dr. Lamb at the Mayo he speaks with and a Dr. Shakanda at the Vanderbilt. And they kind of all three go together and try to figure out whenever I'm having a major issue, what to do.
Well, and you sound like the type of person too that you want to help someone else too.
Exactly.
You want to do whatever you can do to try and.
I pray that no one ever, that I don't get this. I'm in a group called Mastocytosis Society. And so many folks have already died from getting the COVID. And I'm like, don't you come to my house. I don't have nobody over.
Well, that's what I said. I'm so glad that you came in today. I know
I appreciate y'all having
me.
It's been a different type of life. It's a challenge now that it's just my husband and I. We're 53 and this is supposed to be the fun years, but instead it's not. It's the hardest part of it. It is just we've never had to have help, never had to ask for help. And when your bills are behind, Christmas is next month and I don't even want to think about it. And that's usually my favorite time of year, but it's hard to when you're not going to be able to celebrate like you want to, which it's not about the gifts. It's about being together with family and appreciating that you're still here another year.
Yeah.
But it's just changed. We went from 24 years at one place and then happened to move and all the illness. And then my husband stressing. And like I said, on July 23rd, he had a grand mal seizure, a massive stroke, and a heart attack. And they had to stat flight him out to Brownsboro all in one day. And they told us he wasn't going to make it through the night. He was on life support and everything. And the next day, they pulled out all the tubing and he started breathing on his own. But from the way the doctors talk, it could be anywhere from 1 to 3 years, It is what it is.
You just take it day by day.
That's all you can do.
Enjoy every minute.
That's it. Even if you're just up to the point now that I take a nap if I want to. Yeah. And if the dishes need to be washed, I'll throw them in some hot soapy water and come back. It's not the most important thing in the world.
It's not. Take care of yourself
Exactly. And as I tell folks, if you've come to see my house and not me, you've come for the wrong reason. Yeah. You're supposed to be there to visit me, not.
Absolutely.
I don't go judging your house. Don't come judging mine.
I agree. Well, Cindy, I don't want to keep you any longer than you have to, but your story is amazing.
Thank you. I hope I was some insight.
Oh, I hear these all the time, but this one is just, from your bills and just and your husband alone. Most people have a spouse or significant other that's healthy and can, but you have a double whammy going on.
It is a nightmare. I never dreamed. I sit and think, good gravy. What else is going to be thrown at me? And I'm like, shh, be quiet. Be quiet. You don't want to say that. It may happen.
Well, you are an inspiration
to
me.
Appreciate
so
that.
I appreciate that.
People... I just think that, you have to make the best of it. No matter it. If they told me I was going to die tomorrow, I would just be with my family and be thankful for the time I have. Because you can't take that back. You can always go to work. You can always go visit a friend, but somebody in need that's a family, you should always be there to try to help them if you can, That's how I was raised. You don't judge by the skin, you judge by the heart.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's how it should be. That's how I feel anyway.
Well, you're amazing. Well,
thank you.
I told a little bit of a fib. I got you in here because I wanted to hear your story, which was amazing, by the way. But Sydney actually nominated you. We wanted to give you a $500 check today.
Oh my God! Oh my God! You've got to be kidding me.
We are not not kidding.
Oh my God, that's going to go toward my rent. Oh my God.
You absolutely deserve this, 100%.
I don't know what to say. Oh my God. I'm trying not to cry. Oh my God, you
No,
guys.
you're fine.
Oh, Sydney, she's such a doll.
I mean, just hearing your story, and I mean, you've touched me in 10 minutes, so you've had amazing friends and family, and we wish we could do more.
Oh no, God, you are just, oh my Lord.
But we hope this takes a little bit of
It will
stress off
definitely
you.
take it, definitely. Oh my God, thank you so much. Here comes the tears, I'm gonna cry. That's a big
Everyone
old
cries.
check. I don't know if I can carry that.
Well, I got you a real one. This one won't cash, but
Darn. Do I get to keep it?
no.
Darn.
But you can take you a picture. Oh, there she is.
Take a picture of me, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sydney, come here and give me a hug.
Yeah, you're fine. You can go right in front of it.
Thank you, honey. I sure could use that. I love you. Thank you, my sweet girl.
Yeah.
This is my other daughter here.
Yeah, she's amazing. She talks very highly of you. So
All
getting
right.
hidden back here, but
Here we are, Megan. Get a picture of me with my.
there
Oh my
you go.
God. Thank you, Lord.
Make sure you get it in there. That's awesome. I know. I love
I
doing
can't
this.
stop crying.
She was so surprised.
I'm not. I just thought I was here for an interview. That is so cool.
Well, your interview was definitely amazing.
That is
and
so
I
cool.
hope everyone watching, you learned something. The binder was a great idea. That's all right. No, you're fine. But thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. Please subscribe. We have all kinds of content like this and amazing people like Cindy on here. So we appreciate you all watching this one. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good day.